with you with the area of AFM. What are we dealing with today? Let's discuss the particular portion. We are done with the entire modules, as you already know. We are done with module A, module B, module C, as well as module D. So what am I doing today? I am dealing with the last two chapters combined. From tomorrow onwards, I'll be starting with the entire revision of each in every module. I'll try to cover up the important relevant questions or the questions which I've seen in the examination previously in terms of this particular area. Before I proceed further, just two things. First of all, please like this particular session. Secondly, please share it among your peers so that maximum people can join in terms of our class. Right? Okay. So what are we dealing with today? We're talking about standard costing. Standard matlab I set up a standard. This is what we are going to do. Budgetary control talks about monetary value. What is it in terms of money that the organization possesses? What is a plan actually? I think I'll be saving 10,000 bucks in the future, or maybe I'll be spending 10,000 bucks in the future. The production is of 10,000 units. That's anticipation of the future. Based upon the anticipation, I define the money that I'm going to spend on that particular thing. So that's about standard costing and budgetary control. So let's deal with both of these topics together in this series. And please go ahead and like the session, everyone. Let's begin with the session. Okay, here comes the first question. Which of the following is not an advantage of marginal? I'm sorry. Which of the following is not an advantage of marginal costing? Everyone? Marginal costing matlab variable costing. It provides a rational basis for setting sales prices, requires separate set of records, or next is helps to determine the break-even point, and last is facilitates cost control. What does it do, everyone? Not an advantage of marginal costing. Facilitates cost control, it does. Helps determine break-even point, it does. Provides a rational basis of setting the sales price, or requires separate set of records. I think all things make sense except B. There's no point of setting up the records for profit planning. This is not a relevant point. Rest everything else is. Okay? The answer is B. Next question. What does the marginal cost emphasize regarding the fixed cost, everyone? They vary with production volume. Nope. Fixed cost remains the same. If the factory rent is 1 lakh rupees per month, it remains 1 lakh no matter what we do. It remains constant regardless of production. They are included in the work in progress. We don't include it in the WIP overall. The next point is the last one. They are not relevant for profit planning. They are. How can we forget about the rent that we have to pay? We cannot cry about the fact that, oh, I forgot to include that 1 lakh rupees that we have to pay. Fixed cost is normally a major amount for the organization already. So the point is, the answer is B only, everyone. I'll just correct it up. It remains constant. Whatever we do, this amount remains constant. Okay? Now this point is, what does this is B. What does the marginal cost emphasize regarding fixed cost? This is what we did. They remain constant. Now next point. Which limitation of marginal costing? They're talking about the limitation of marginal costing to the difficulty in segregating cost into fixed and variable. Fixed and variable. Fixed cost and variable cost, the specific cost, they are related to the area of personal judgment of the accountant, unrealistic assumptions about the cost behavior, and then we have unrealistic inventory. valuation and impact on sales price due to the production volume. Fixed and variable cost. One particular problem is basically personal judgment of the accountant. Which part is regular, which part is not, which part really affects the business and which part doesn't, which is variable, which is not. Okay, there are 3 points. Variable, semi variable, and fixed. There's always a thin line, silver lining among all these. So this is what we will look forward to. ठीक है ना? So we have to determine the classification based upon the clarity. Done? Which assumption of marginal costing is not considered realistic in practice? Fixed costs do not vary. They do. Variable costs are always proportional to the production volume. Inventory valuation accurately reflects the costs and sales price per unit remains constant. What's going to be the answer? What's going to be the answer, everyone? Which assumption of marginal costing is not considered realistic practice? Fixed cost actually varies over the period of time. So this assumption is still realistic. In the short term, it doesn't vary. Variable costs are always proportional to production volume. It is. Semi-variable varies. This doesn't. So this is also a variable. This is also considered a realistic point. Inventory valuation accurately reflects cost. Not really, but sometimes, yeah. Sales price per unit remains constant. It can never remain constant, everyone. How can I ever say that the price remains constant? It is not Maggie. Maggie and the second one is, first is Maggie and the second one is Parle G. They have kept the same price, but do you know they have reduced the weight? You cannot do this. It's not good for any of the organizations to have the same price. Why would you want that people should have the same price? You will have to increase it as per the inflation point. Na? Done? Oh, here comes the next point, that is called the zero-based budgeting. This was given by Peter Payer, pata hai? Everyone? ZBB uses historical data, zero-based budgeting. Okay, let me tell you a brief information about this topic. Zero-based budgeting is actually a situation where we do not have any previous base. Whatever we knew earlier, we are going to keep it aside. That means there is no specific base or assumption on which we are working. This particular point is called ZBB, also known as zero base budgeting, where the budget is set but on the basis of the current situations, not on the basis of past. For example, if I'm talking about COVID, during the COVID period, entire dimensions changed altogether. It's no longer the same, is it? It's all totally different from what we knew before COVID and what happened after COVID. The market changed, the market dimensions changed, the demands changed, the pattern of the demand also changed. So zero-based budgeting says whatever the previous things are on the basis of which you were adding up and finding the present situation, don't do that anymore. ZBB uses historical data as a reference point. ZBB starts from scratch without any reference point to the past, or ZBB focuses only on incremental charges, or ZBB incorporates all previous expenditures automatically. In this case, ZBB uses, it starts from scratch. It doesn't use the previous information at all. They say we'll find everything on the basis of what we have today, not something that we had yesterday. What is the premise underlying? Premise matlab assumption, everyone. What is the assumption underlying ZBB? Go ahead and answer. Every expenditure should be automatically included in the budget. Not really. We cannot say this. Next point. Historical spending patterns should dictate future allocated functions. It can do that. But the point is, this is only if the things don't change. There's an increase of 10% raw material price over the few years, but all of a sudden, due to some war or something, it just increased. The entire previous thing is gone now. It's history. You know? So historical spending patterns really don't worry about it anymore. They keep on changing after some time. Every rupee of expenditure requires justifying. वैसे तो it does. If you make people answerable, then they will spend wisely. Budgeting should be based on solely on incremental basis. Budgeting should be done on incremental basis. We can say that. But when we talk about premises in terms of zero-based budgeting, in this case, the answer is C only. Rest everything sounds too historical. Everything has a history involved in it, but ZBB says there is no history. How does ZBB differ from traditional budgeting? Traditional budgeting says what was the cost in the last year. Acha, it was 100 rupees. Now it has grown to 110. Then it has grown to 120. There has been an increase of 10 rupees. Pattern decoded. ZBB automatically incorporates previous expenditures. Traditional budgeting requires justification for every expenditure. ZBB only considers incremental changes in the expenditure. Traditional budgeting starts from scratch without reference of past data. But traditional budgeting was based upon हमारे ज़माने में ये होता था तो इस बार ये हो रहा होगा. You have that defining thing there. You know, you have a trend analysis and then you say this must be something that's going to happen in this year as well. That doesn't make sense. So ZBB works in what way, everyone? Done, everyone? So in this case, traditional talks about the previous part. ZBB doesn't incorporate, so this first is wrong. ZBB considered. The answer should be B is definitely related to the area of traditional budgeting. ZBB, no. There should be ZBB written here. Traditional wasn't really this part. ZBB talks about justification at every point of time. Traditional had a cluster of it. They used to find estimates. Okay, in ZBB, what is the starting point of budgeting, everyone? Where is it that the ZBB starts? What's going to be the answer? In ZBB, what is the starting point? Historical expenditure patterns. We don't look at history at all. Incremental changes from the previous budget. That's also history. Scrutiny of every expenditure item from the beginning and automatic inclusion of past expenditures. Past each and every expenditure is scrutinized. Why this, why that, why not this, why not that. So technically it is C. Scrutiny of every expenditure item from the very beginning. We will try to find whether this is justified, whether it relates to the business or it's just not worth it. Right? What is the primary focus of ZBB? Incremental changes from previous budgets, reusing budget figures from previous years, Reevaluating all activities and their constituent parts automatically incorporated past budget allocations. What is primary focus of ZBB? Primary focus of ZBB is just gonna reevaluate every part. You just can't see the previous past. You just can't see what's happening in the records. ZBB is clearly saying zero base budgeting. There is no previous base that we are taking up. There is completely no base. Taken. If there's any base involved, then it is wrong, because zero based budgeting says we are coming out of the chains of the past. Done, everyone? Done? Chaliye then, let's move on to the next question. What does the performance-based budgeting emphasize? Performance means it is based upon the realistic situation that we can face. Allocating funds on the basis of historical history is just not considered. That is a part of traditional. Re-examining each program rationale for inclusion of the budget, analyzing and identifying specific performance budgets, objectives, or ignoring the outcome of the services. The answer would be analyzing and identifying specific performance objectives. We are going to see the objectives. We're going to see and analyze the specific performances related to that particular part. Taken? We're going to study that part deeply. Done now? Okay. Now comes the next part. Limitations of performance budget. We are difficult in segregating programs in the evaluation method. Strong emphasis on profit motive. Profit motive is a part of entire area, but costing never talks about that. It says ki we are trying to control the cost. Profit is something that just happens. Inclusion of all activities or programs without re-evaluation. Performance budgeting. It's based upon performance. So you evaluate, re-evaluate, and you keep on doing it. Lack of focus on specific performance budgets. You will have to see on specificities. If you don't look at specific things, how will you do at the things altogether? This is difficult in segregating the programs. That is what they can face. That there are the different programs in which they can divide. But they don't really face a problem in they don't face a problem in defining the programs. It's not based upon the past. The performances, the reality changes. In terms of industrialization, if industrialization wasn't possible, things for us would have been the same. This doesn't change at all. But things change, don't they? How are variances between standard and actual achievement handled in budgetary control? These are again a part of standard costing, what we thought and what we had. And in this case, we might have to revise the things as well. They are ignored by the management. Corrective actions are determined by the discretion of the management. They are automatically corrected by the system. They are not calculated as a part of budget monitoring. What is it? What's the answer? Done? The answer is corrective actions are determined by the discretion of the management. They're the only ones who decide. If they really have to take any corrective action, it is only and only one place which will decide it. That is the management. Ultimately, management is the key now. Okay, so before I end my session here, everyone, we are starting with our new series of a a new batch. So before I end my session, I'll just show you where to go. You have to use the code Y541. It is given at the in the below portion as well. Now go on to our website. That is www.adda247.com. Go on to the area of JAIIB, CIB. In this case, you will find the Mahapacks. In Mahapack, you include everything: test series, ebooks, classes, and revision batches. Whatever batches we come up, bilingual, English medium, everything opened up. And especially if you buy the double validity, that means you buy it for 1 year, you get it for 2 years. 2 years, and barely around this will come out to be 10,000 something, 10,500 by using the code Y541. Okay? As soon as you will use it, the Mahapack is available to you at a very low price. What else you can do is you can also take up our JIB May 2024 batch. This is our victory batch, which is starting from which is just started from 6th of Feb only. What you can do is you can use the code Y. It is Y541 and apply it. You can see it would cost you around 4199.7, but this is for 6 months. You get it for 24 months, 10,500, and then you will get for 24 months by 17% is here. Use your app, you will get it for 80%. You'll get another 1% as a discount. So that's it for the day, everyone. We'll be meeting in the next session. Till then, keep learning and keep growing. I'll be meeting in the next session at our regular timing. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye bye, and don't forget to buy the courses if you haven't bought it yet. Thank you.